What's he building in there? What's he building in there? We have a right to know.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 31 of Reframing the Narrative. And hey, we're making good use out of the time we had together in real life. And we are just back with another short one this week, just to get some thoughts out there, to talk a little bit, in this case, about how we know each other IRL. And it's
opposed to LOL.
It's an interesting question that was posed today as we're recording this by Agent 131711 in his subscriber chat. And he asked his audience, how many people you actually know truthers in real life? And it was a little bit disheartening to see how many people don't have others to talk to about some of these topics that we've discussed on this channel and many of us have looked into privately. And I feel very blessed and fortunate to know someone like Jake and to have made his acquaintance through what was a very strange part of our past in 2020 and 2021. But through all that malarkey and the pressure that was being put on us through all directions, we made friendships with each other and with others, and we found a community of people. And I can say that the same is true for me in Central Texas, where I know a lot of like-minded people there too, who ultimately came together when the pressure was around them. Although Central Texas is much freer and a bit more sane than it was out here in the gay area. But that being said, it really brought the people seeing things clearly together to really have a camaraderie and just band together to try to make it through the madness. And so this week, we're just going to briefly talk about how we got together, how we knew each other, and, fast forward the tape many years, and here we are doing a podcast together, but certainly not how we started our conversation. So, Jake, I know you have some thoughts. Why don't you carry the conversation forward?
Sure. Well, it's funny that I'm the one wearing the sunglasses today, because when I first met you, PJ, you were always wearing sunglasses and you had the Billy Idol hair, which you kind of still have. And congratulations on that, by the way, because I know how old you actually are. But we met through a group that's really formed out of necessity, when we just touched on in a previous episode about what do you do to take steps to make yourself less of a slave, if not a slave at all, and be a sovereign human. And part of that is homeschooling. So when the malarkey rolled out, I must give myself a little credit, and I didn't fall for it for 1 second. And a good buddy of mine was, we were talking about it, and he's the first one who turned me on to John Rappaport and said, I don't even think there's a virus. And I was like, really? And I didn't discount anything, but that's obviously where we are now. But anyway, credit to him. He had his children in a homeschooling collective, and on Sundays, they would gather beyond just that group of parents in a park just to get together because they needed some sanity and some normalcy for them in their lives, where they could have their children around each other and not muffled up with their oxygen holes being blocked up. And he welcomed us to join in those gatherings. And although I don't have children, I wanted to be around those kind of people because I was going crazy myself. Those were crazy times. But I did want to make the point that so many, I think in these tests that we're given, we can end up really clarifying who we are and what kind of friends we want and what kind of friends we want to make. And it's very sad that people lost family. Some family doesn't even speak to them now because of certain issues, whether it could be on any level. Of course, we don't even need to get into that. But, what you choose to put into your body is certainly one of them. How you carried yourself that at that time, who was invited over to gatherings and what you had to do. I knew people who literally had to stand out in front of their parents' house in the driveway and wave at them because their parents were so afraid. That's been repaired, of course, but there are crazy times. And one outcome of that is I made true friends. And so it just brings home to me the idea that, yes, sometimes you have to go through a lot of hardship and tests to really come out of it with clarity and a sense of purpose and also a sense of place, knowing who you are, what you're about, and what kind of friends you want and those that you have. And another outcome of that is after we're done recording today, I'm going to go get together with some friends. I literally met at a gathering July 4th, 2020, our friendversary just passed 5 years. We were in a gathering and I put it out there. I didn't know where they stood at anything, but we ended up the same table together and it was a buffet meal. And I just said, I don't know what you guys think, but I think this whole blah, blah, blah is a bunch of malarkey. And now we're best friends.
That's great. And also, we had Michael Jaguar on our show, who is a big driving force, was a big driving force of this group. And we had that conversation during that particular episode. But hats off to him again for gathering the right group of people together. We may not have agreed on everything, but we agreed on the core essentials. And that brought a lot of us together, including Jake and I, to start building that friendship and stay in touch over time and eventually start this adventure podcasting together. But it really is important to find those people in your life that you can talk to and be open and honest with. And I wouldn't trade a minute of what happened in that phase of the tyranny coming up, because I never would have made friends like Jake and have formed some of the long-lasting friendships I have. So I think it's a good reminder to all of us that when life gets tough, and certainly myself and others have gone through some rougher patches of late, but it's really forced us to grow in new ways. And part of that growing is making new friends and choosing your family and going through it together versus being that person who takes it all in and is isolated and muttering under their breath, looking like the crazy person in the room. I think it's really important to get out there in real life. And we talked about this with David Rodriguez a little bit. Go out there and meet people, bond with people, be a part of their lives and vice versa.
And you were an example of that. A lot of times you'll be on our podcast or in our own private conversations and you'll say, I was at a gathering the other day wearing my Moon Hoax t-shirt or whatever it is, but you're referencing these gatherings that are having in real life. And you're fortunate enough to live in a place where you can do that. But maybe some people only have that virtual kind of thing going on. And that can be kind of a double-edged sword, I think, because a lot of what we're going through is we're being pushed onto these virtual communities, and we'll eventually maybe even get to the point where we don't even know if the people we're interacting with are people. So it's just so refreshing, and it's great to really have IRL compadres.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I got. It just filled me with so much energy going to Confluence this year and meeting new people who share a kindred spirit and a common set of morals and a core beliefs. Again, we don't agree on everything, but that's not the point. And making new friends there, because it is so important. And I would just encourage our listeners, whatever your situation is, there's undoubtedly someone out there who will probably resonate with you, and you just have to make the effort to go find those people and give someone a hug. That's one of the things I loved about that community we met in. We made a point to hug each other because we weren't afraid of this boogeyman virus that was supposedly going around. But I go back to when I briefly met Alex Zeck, and he said, I don't give handshakes, I give hugs. And I think that's something we should all live by. And yeah, I think we're just going to keep this short this week and just say, go out IRL and LOL and
give some hugs.
That's right.
Spread the hugs.
Spread the hugs, spread the joy, and tune in next week. very likely that will either be virtual or perhaps we might have another in real life treat for you. So stay tuned.
Thanks for being with us again, and we'll see you in the next episode. Don't forget the hugs.
You just have to flood a country's public square with enough raw sewage. You just have to raise enough questions, spread enough dirt, plant enough conspiracy theorizing that citizens no longer know what to believe.